Now is the time for the practice of yoga. As you arrive for your practice, take a moment to find whatever is the right position for you to begin. So, again, if you have had a very sedentary day, you might take some time now at the beginning of our class to get your wiggles out. So, what that might look like could be to move through some sun salutations. Maybe it would be to do a Qigong shaking like we did a couple different times in our practices together, or any stretches that feel intuitively right for you today. We will be doing a yin yoga practice today. And in our yin yoga, we utilize the props to hold us in the stretches for a longer duration of time. We might be in the poses for 3 to 5 minutes, and having a pillow or a couple of yoga blocks can help to hold the body and support us as we're in those longer held poses, really allowing for the stretch and the opening to go deeper than just even the layers of our muscles, but even all the way into our connective tissues and fascia. Good. Nice. For those who have had a lot of movement today, maybe you're already sprawled out in Shavasana, or you feel comfortable in a seated position, to take a pause for centering. If you're on your back, if you're lying down on the floor already, you might place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. For those in a seated position, maybe you're letting your hands rest onto your legs or in your lap. Again, choose the position that's meeting you right where you are at today in this moment. Good. And then as we're shifting gears, invite in a nice, full, deep inhale in through your nose. And then when you feel ready, open your mouth and exhale and let it go. You might do this 1 or 2 more times, really helping to shift your energy and shift gears from the activities of your day. So full breath all the way in. Maybe sipping in a little extra air at the top, holding the breath for a second, and then open your mouth and exhale and let it go all the way to empty. Perhaps one more time at your pace, full inhale. And a letting go exhale. You might close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or just softening your gaze. Taking a moment here as we do a scan. So we'll scan through first the physical layer of ourselves, so scanning through the physical body. You might begin at the crown of your head and begin to move your awareness from the crown of your head all the way across the space of your forehead, scanning your eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, nose, mouth, scanning the space of your jaw, your tongue, your neck, your shoulders. Take this body scan down the length of your arms to your hands and fingers, and scanning your torso, your chest, your abdomen, your upper back and lower back. Continuing your body scan down the space through your hips, through your legs, all the way down to your feet and your toes. We're just taking stock, noticing where we are meeting our body at this moment. Next, take a moment to observe your mental body. So noticing the contents of your mind without becoming overly involved. Simply notice any thoughts that may be present. Again, we're just noticing what is present, not getting involved or beginning to have full conversations in our head, but just observing, just noticing. Next, coming into awareness if there are any emotions present. This one may be a little trickier to decipher, or maybe it's very obvious for you today. So just notice, are there any emotions that you're bringing to the mat today? And then finally, we will take stock of our current vibration. So finding and feeling into your energy body. Do we find a high vibration, a low vibration, maybe a little dense, maybe a little spacious? And then once we're aware of this information, of these different bodies or layers, it allows us to differentiate between our true essence at our center, pure awareness, pure consciousness, and these various layers that we often associate ourselves to be. Let's take a nice inhale, deep in through the nose again, and an open mouth exhale. Just as we release the breath, so too can we release our attachment to any of these specific layers. So throughout our practice today, we're able to really drop the layers, dropping, releasing any attachment to that knot in a certain area, or that conversation that keeps moving through our head, or the emotions that keep welling up. And rather we can practice coming back to the breath, allowing ourselves to abide and recognize ourselves to be that essence which is beyond each of these layers. Now, at the beginning of our practice is a wonderful time to set an intention. And again, with the spring equinox, we are at that space of equal day, equal night, really allowing for the balance of these energies. We're coming out of winter, so we're all the way down at the lowest point of this cycle. And as we quest up and out of that cycle, we're moving back towards greater light, more spaciousness, perhaps an increase of energy. So maybe you have some spring intentions. Perhaps you're visualizing the garden that you're growing this summer, excited for the harvest that you will find from that conscious, dedicated attention. Maybe there's another garden, maybe there's a metaphor of that garden in your own life that you are planting the seeds of. And once you have your intention, a goal, a wish, a prayer, this intention, this vision, add some feeling to it. So the feeling of when that is real and true and manifest. How does it make you feel? So when we add that layer of feeling, it brings it so that it feels as if it's real and true right here, right now. We are already embodying being a vibrational match to the fulfillment of that goal, that wish, that intention. And then we layer in the power of gratitude. So giving thanks. And with that giving thanks, it adds that additional layer of energy, that vibration of gratitude, very, very fertile soil to plant the seeds of our intentions. Here again, you might receive a deep inhale in through your nose. Perhaps pause at that top in fullness. And then when you feel ready, open your mouth, exhale, release. Releasing our intention with trust, with faith. From here, we'll slowly release our arms if we had our hands onto our abdomen. And if you are in a seated position, go ahead and stretch all the way out onto your back. If you're already on your back, you might move any props out of the way. We're going to find a full body stretch. So as you reach your arms overhead, stretch your legs out long, stretching and lengthening all the way out here. Big full body stretch, circling wrist and ankles, moving fingers and toes. From here, we'll bend the knees and gather your knees to your chest, wrapping your arms around your legs. Give yourself a hug. Invite your shoulders to relax. You might circle your ankles, moving your feet a few times, circling one way and the other. And then from this reclined position, we'll begin to compress the abdomen. So on your next exhale, begin to gently lift your head and shoulders up towards your knees. Exhale as you round in and squeeze your belly. And then inhale as you bring your head and shoulders back down to the mat. Now let's do this 3 more times for a nice squeezing of the abdominal organs. Move with your breath. Exhale as you round in, curling in. Inhale as you relax your head and shoulders back down. Exhale, round in, squeeze, empty out the breath, navel towards spine. Inhale, relax head and shoulders down. One more time, exhale, curl in. And on your inhale, release. Bring your feet back down to the mat. Step your feet a little wider apart. Interlace your hands under your head and let your elbows drop wide to the sides. Begin to travel your knees left and right. So as you sway your legs from side to side, you might move just a few times, very casually at first, and then perhaps you begin to press your legs a little farther towards the earth, only to a point that feels safe in your knees. If the arm position is not working for your shoulders today, you might bring your arms into a cactus or a goalpost position. As you continue, you could also extend your arms straight out to the sides at shoulder height. And as we do a few more rounds, you could turn your head in the opposite direction from your knees. Take your time really tuning in to the sensations as they present in your body. You may also just keep an eye on the mental body, recognizing that things may arise, but our practice is to just let them pass. So if thoughts begin to arise, notice that if we don't become attached to them or get involved, that they will indeed pass right on by. Let's do once more to each side. Take your time. You can always do more if it feels like this is just the right move for you today. If you had a lot of sitting, this one could feel really good as far as opening up the front of your hips and thighs. When you're ready, coming back to center, step your feet a comfortable distance apart and bring just your right knee into your chest. You'll hug your right knee in quite tight into your body. And then move the right knee out to the right side, then just moving that leg a little bit around in the right hip socket. So these movements could be whatever feels right in your body. Maybe it's interesting to make full circles, or perhaps keeping that knee open to the side, squeezing it into the hip socket, gauging what your body needs today. And as you bring your leg back to center, extend that right leg up to the sky. First, we will hold on to the back of the thigh and flex and point the right foot a few times. From here, optional to begin to take the hands a little farther up the back of your right leg, maybe holding on around the calf. Now honoring what needs to yet open, maybe there's part of the back of your thigh that hasn't quite defrosted from winter, so perhaps we stay right here. It might be available to extend the other leg flat, your left leg extending out long along your yoga mat. Now, if you are exploring that option, you may have felt how this could have increased the sensations that are present. So either keeping the left leg bent or straight. Another option here, and again, if you already have a lot to work with, if the hamstring already has a lot to say to you, or extending out the left leg has added a lot, let that be where your practice is. If it does make sense in your body today, on your next exhale, you might begin to lift your head and shoulders up off of the mat, perhaps walking your hands farther up the right leg, bending your elbows like we are bending them around that right leg, rounding your head up towards that leg, maybe staying here, breathing deeply, or hovering your left heel, your left leg hovering up off of the mat. Wherever you are, let's take one more full breath. And then slowly lower your left heel if you lifted it, lower your head and shoulders if you lifted it. Bend the right knee into your chest again. Give it a nice tight squeeze. Very good. Let's stretch that right leg long, full body stretch, reaching your arms overhead, allowing this big stretch to open the front of the hips and thighs, as well as give a little room to your internal organs. So really opening all the way up. And when you're ready, bend both knees, feet onto the mat. We'll start here with the left knee now coming into the chest. Give it a nice tight squeeze. So we're introducing compression in the left hip, as well as maybe a bit of a press of your thigh into your belly. Good. You could stay here. There's a lot going on here. This pose right here is very grounding. So if the wind and the rain is having you a little spacey, maybe hugging the leg in is just the right practice for you today. Perhaps we explore straightening the left leg to the sky, holding on to the back of that thigh, and flex and point the left ankle a few times. Just tuning in. There's all sorts of little accumulations from the activities of our day that we might not notice if we don't take the time on our mat or in our personal practices, just to make sure that we're observing, noticing, the top of that foot is a little tight. What are my daily activities that might be causing that? Good. Here again, options. Maybe it's available. You slide your hands a little farther up the back of the left leg. This could already be a lot, right? The back of the knee is opening. The back of the thigh is opening. We're breathing steady here. For some of us, this might be right exactly the sweet spot, and for some, it might be beneficial or interesting to straighten the right leg. Good. As you're breathing, wherever you are meeting yourself with compassion, patience, and honesty. This could be where we stay, or maybe it's interesting or beneficial to exhale, lift your head and shoulders, rounding your head towards that left leg, bending the elbows like we're trying to wrap them around the left leg. Optional to stay there or lift and hover the right heel. That right leg hovering. Again, you could be at any point, any one of these variations. Wherever you are, let's take one more full breath. And slowly lower the head, the heel, hug the left knee into your chest. Again, give it a squeeze for a grounding effect. And then stretch everything out long. Full body stretch, really appreciating the openness at the front of your hips and thighs. Circling out through your wrist and fingers, acknowledging there's more blood flow, there's more energy flow. Prana, that life force energy, has some more room to move through. Another big inhale here, and exhale, relax your arms down, bend your knees again, bringing your feet to the mat. 3 breaths here, just neutralizing the spine. And we will transition, rolling to your right side. Use your arm as a pillow and rest your head onto your arm. By having the head resting onto your arm, just a little pause, relaxing, resting for just another moment. This opens the left nostril, which activates the right hemisphere of the brain, having us in a bit more of a relaxed state. Good. From here, coming to a comfortable seat, if that is sitting cross-legged on your mat, or maybe sitting up onto a pillow or a yoga prop. Taking a moment with the spine now upright. Invite in and receive a deep inhale. And then an open mouth, letting go. Exhale. Opening up the side of your neck, releasing your left ear over towards your left shoulder. You might reach out through your left fingers. Reaching your arm out to the side could add to the stretch on the side of your neck. You could turn your gaze slightly down towards the floor past your left knee. We'll take 5 more full breaths here. You could feel the stretch primarily in the neck, or maybe you're starting to feel even a stretch down through your shoulder and your arm. On your next inhale, bring your head back up, inhale. Exhale, resting your hands on your legs. Full breath in, full breath out. And then second side, releasing your right ear towards your right shoulder. You might reach out through your left fingertips. See if this adds to the stretch on the side of your neck. Maybe staying here or looking down just past your right knee, if that is adding to your neck stretch in a way that works for you. Good. Take your time. Inhale, bringing your head back up. And exhale. Very nice. Extend your legs out nice and wide. So we will let our legs open out to the sides. Here you might wish to have your props close by. So I have my yoga props a little bit off to the side, so bringing those in a little bit closer. So with the legs open into a wide V shape, You might take a moment here doing just a little circling around just to acclimate into your hips and low back. You can circle a few times one way. They can be as big or small of circles as feels right for you. And then circle the opposite direction. We're just noticing maybe one hip or one side feels a little clunky. And then we'll circle back to upright. Bring your left foot in. So as you bend your knee and bring your left foot in, bringing that heel in close towards your seat. If this is uncomfortable for that left knee, you might bring a prop, perhaps a yoga block or a blanket, to place under your knee as a support. We will do a side stretch here, starting reaching over to the right leg. So bringing your props over to the right side. You might stack both of your blocks on the outside of your right knee as you begin to lean over and rest your elbow onto the blocks. Now, it may be available for you to use less height on the blocks. But again, remembering we're going to really tune in to what's actually happening in the body and making sure that we don't go too far too fast. If you are resting your elbow onto blocks or a stack of books, you might rest your head into your right hand. If that's available for you, resting your head, or even making a little fist, resting the side of your cheek onto your hand. We can also just lean over, keeping the neck long so that we're mindful of how it feels in the space of the neck. So we'll be here for another minute. Now, a couple of things to focus in on would be to keep the left sitting bone anchored down. Sometimes as we lean over, we get a little ungrounded. So we want to let that left leg stay heavy, letting the sitting bones stay rooted. And then as you lean over, left hand could be resting on your leg. Maybe you bring that left arm up and over, resting it on the side of your head. Even without adding the left arm, there's a lot happening through the left side body. So about 30 more seconds here. Relax your shoulders and simply witnessing the sensations of the physical body, witnessing any mental chatter that may arise, witnessing any emotions that might begin to present. Stay focused on the breath, and at any point you might find a cleansing, open mouth exhale. Take your time, very slowly coming back to upright. Now, as you come back to upright, inhale and exhale fully. There will be different sensations. We've just released all the connective tissue on the side body. So your bones are readjusting, your spine is readjusting. You might invite a cleansing breath, inviting that tension that you stirred out of your muscles and connective tissue to go with the breath. Extend the left leg out so you're in that wide V shape again. You might take a few circles here. Moving around in some circles. You could observe if there's a difference in temperature or sensation left and right side. Our left side is our yin energy, a little bit more of that cooling moon energy. The right side is our solar. After you've circled around, we'll set up for the second side. So bend your right leg in. Move your props over to the left side. And here again, if the right knee is lifted a lot, you might slide something under it. And that just helps to let this leg feel supported. And as we start to find our side bend, we can lean over. Maybe we rest our elbow onto the props and let this be where we are. There could be a lot unfolding in your rib cage and your intercostals, the area between your ribs. Maybe you're feeling an added stretch on the side of your neck. And then notice again if you've become at all ungrounded. So letting your side bend be only to the extent that you can still stay grounded and rooted through the right leg, the right sitting bone. It might be available to rest your head into your left hand. But making sure that if we've done that it hasn't taken the stretch too far. And we might notice that if we've gone too far, if our breath is not as deep. Once you've found the outline of the pose that's right for you, we'll be here for one more minute. Stay focused on your breath and scan through the layers of yourself: physical, mental, emotional, vibrational. Take your time, press into your hands as you slowly bring yourself back up and out of your side bend. At center, take a moment, inhaling and exhaling at upright. And then when you're ready, gradually extend that right leg out so you are again into that wide V shape. Here, maybe you place your hands behind you and begin to gently reach your heart forward. So when we lead with our heart, we can keep that length through our spine. Maybe we keep our hands behind us as it helps to tilt the spine forward. Breathing into the sensations that might be showing up on the back of your legs or your low back. It might be available to step your hands in front of your legs and maintain that tilt of the spine, still reaching through your spine, reaching your heart forward. Notice if how you're holding your head is indeed comfortable and sustainable for your neck. You could stay with these sensations, or if your props are close by, you might bring the stack of books or your yoga blocks in front of you, perhaps resting your forearms, your elbows onto the blocks. If it is available in your body to lower your elbows to the earth, make sure you do so very slowly and mindfully, making sure that we're tending to the various layers of sensation as they present. Once you have found the outline of the pose that's right for you, we'll be here for one more minute. Relax your shoulders, soften your tongue, relax your forehead. Just a steady focus on your breath. Finding one more full breath here. And again, really take your time as you start to press into your hands, coming back to upright, shifting any props out of the way if you used them. Once at upright, full breath in, full breath out, there will be a whole new host of sensations after you come out of the pose. Maybe you can feel as your back body receives a little bit more circulation now that you've stretched out some of the tightness in your fascia and your muscles and your connective tissues. Good. Lean back into your hands, bend your knees, stepping your feet onto the ground, and slowly move your knees left and right. A couple more times in this windshield wiper fashion. From here, we're coming into a side sage pose, or a sleeping sage. With this, we'll come onto the left hip, stepping the left hand a ways out from the body. And maybe it's available to stack your legs. It could be a little tipsy-turvy for balancing here. So the left arm, move my silky robe so we can see what's up. Left arm is out. On this side, typically we try to keep our shoulders from creeping up by our ears, but in this one, you can actually let that shoulder slide up. And as you do, you may feel how that increases the stretch from your left armpit all the way along the left side body. The right hand could be in front as a little kickstand to keep you balanced. If having the legs stacked is a little awkward, maybe it's a little challenging to balance, you might put one in front of the other if that helps. Or you could always bend that top leg, putting the foot behind you if that gives you better balance. Now we're really letting the whole left side of the torso drape down towards the earth. So you might even imagine or dream about being in a hammock as that left side body hammocks towards the earth. We'll be here for just 30 more seconds. Slow and steady. From the left shoulder to the left hip. Mindful transitions. Inhale for a little energy. Exhale as you slowly start to gather yourself in. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze here. You might even round your spine, curling into a little ball. Stretching all the way along the whole back body. And then we'll move to the right side. So coming onto your right hip. Extending your legs out long. Letting the right hand be rather far from the hip. And again, figuring out how to stack the hips where we can either balance or maybe the top leg comes forward for balance. Your left hand can be on the floor in front for a little kickstand. So with the right arm now as our kickstand, so our right arm, depending on how far from your body you'd like it to be. Again, generally in our yoga practice, we would here try to keep your shoulders from sneaking up by your ears. But in this pose, we can actually let that shoulder slide up a bit. Ooh, yes, and feel how that may add to the stretch as the right side body is hammocking towards the earth. Long, slow, deep breaths in your side sage pose. Again, maybe the foot comes to balance you. Wherever you are, we're here for 30 more seconds. Be steady with your breath, observing physically, mentally, emotionally, vibrationally. All right, and big inhale to get some energy. And starting to transition out of the pose, exhale. We'll come onto hands and knees this time in a tabletop position. If you would like to move your spine in a few rounds of cat and cow, you can inhale, lifting your tail, brighten your heart forward, lift your chin, and exhale, arch your back towards the sky, release your head. Moving a few more times. With your breath, exhale for cat, and inhale, cow pose. When you feel ready, shift back to child's pose. Top of the feet come to the mat, shifting your hips towards your heels, stretching your arms forward, and either resting your head onto the mat or stacking your arms, resting your forehead onto your arms. One more full breath in child's pose. And then as you feel ready, inhale, coming all the way back up and coming around onto your seat. As we come into our final posture, if you do have some of your pillows around, a couple of options. You might close your practice today in a supported heart opener, placing your pillow or bolster along the length of your mat, sitting just about maybe a fist distance from the bolster so your low back has some room. And then reclining over your pillow so that you can really open the lungs, the ribs, the chest, the shoulders. You could keep your legs bent or extend your legs out straight. If that feels good, closing your practice there, or if you would prefer to have your back flat onto the earth, maybe you're turning your bolster across your mat for under your knees as a support. This helps to support the low back in your reclined position to feel comfortable and at ease. Good. Depending on the activities of your day, one may be more appealing than the other. And if you had a lot of time on your feet today and your legs are feeling a little tired, another option that we've done before is either legs up the wall or putting the lower legs onto a chair or a couch. So this would be your legs up the chair pose, having the calves on the back of your legs resting on a chair. This allows for a release of any accumulated fluids through the legs, releasing any tightness or tension in the low back. Good. Beautiful. So lots of options choosing the one that's right for you today. And as you find the outline of the pose, let's invite in, really receiving our fullest inhale yet. Maybe even sipping a little more air in at the top. Pause and then exhale as we let it go. Letting your eyes close as you rest in stillness here. Releasing all efforting. Recognizing that through your side stretches, through the opening of left side body, right side body, this facilitates greater ease of landing at your center. Abiding in your center, able to access your yin energy when you need it, able to access your yang energy when you need it. And for here, we're resting in stillness, abiding at our center. The right yang and the left yin sides of our body work in harmony to support us. Like night and day, sun and moon, light and dark, summer and winter. Opposites balance the other with their dual qualities. And without one, the other would not exist. We will close our practice here. So if you have time, it's about 5 minutes before the official end of class. Please stay in your chosen, supported posture. You may even focus your attention on counting 10 rounds of breath. And then once you reach 10, maybe you count another 10 rounds of breath. Letting those breaths be long, slow, and relaxed. And then whenever it is ready for you, whenever it is time for you to eventually transition out of your pose, do so very slowly and mindfully. I thank you so much for your practice. Thanks for taking good care of yourself and for being balanced. Happy spring, peace be with you, and namaste.